What's going on, folks? Today I'm going to be showing you the game Perfection, the first edition from Lakeside. This particular version of the game came out around 1974, and it is for 2 players. You can do teams. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the game Perfection. This game has been around, well, since this one's been out. It's still available today. They're still making it. Now, this is a game of dexterity, and what you're trying to do is you've got about 26 or so pieces that you're going to have off of the board, and then you're going to have a certain amount of time to try to find where they fit on the board itself. Now, this version is unique because it has a pegboard, and it also has some little Perfection slides that you can put over the different holes for younger players. But let me go ahead and show you this. Okay, everybody, let's go ahead and show you this first edition of Perfection. Right over here you have the Perfection board, and as you can see, there are a lot of shapes here on the board, and these are the pieces that coincide with the shapes here that are on the board. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to match these pieces with the different slots in here. So for example, this piece would fit right over here, and the X piece of course would then fit over here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to have a timer over here that you're going to go ahead and set to 60 seconds like so. And then you're going to go ahead and hit start, and then once start hits, you're going to go ahead and race to try to get as many of these filled in as you possibly can. Now, with this edition, you see that they have a pegboard over here which says record, and this is what you're going to use to keep score with. And what I have here are 4 pegs. Now, these are not the original pegs that came with the game. These are actually, I made these using paintbrushes from Walmart that were like $1, and they had the plastic little holders. These are great to make pegs with in case you ever need them. And right here you've got these little Perfection slides. These are used if you're playing with kids that are younger. What you can do is you can put these slides over these different shapes over here and limit them. That way the child can play with fewer shapes and it won't be as difficult for them. There's about 16 of these slides, so you can actually cover all but about 10 of these, so you can make it as easy or as difficult as you would like to. But anyway, this comes also with this really neat storage tray, and you can fit everything in there. Now the way scoring works in this game is once the timer runs out, you're going to simply just count the pieces that you were able to put here on the board, and you will go ahead and count that many points. So if I managed to get 15 of these pieces on the board before the clock ran out, I would go ahead and score 15 points. Now, if I actually managed to get all of the pieces on the board, that would score me an automatic 26 points, because that's how many shapes there are on here, or however many shapes that you had set with these Perfection slides. But on top of that, you would also get points for the number of seconds that was left. So if I managed to get all 26 pieces on the board with 5 seconds left, that would score me 31 points, like so. So I'll go ahead and do a quick round with this, and hopefully I'll do pretty well. But what you'll do is you'll set the timer, and then you'll push this thing down like this, and once the timer runs out, it'll pop up. So let's see how I do. Alright, well, this thing's about to pop anyway. I'll try to put one more. There it goes. Okay, so it just went ahead and it popped. And so what I would do is I would score the pieces that I have here. So the way I do is I'll just count how many I had left and then subtract it from 26. So in this case, I think I got about 16 points, which isn't too bad. So I would just go ahead and put the marker here on 16, and then my wife would go. Now, you can also play this game in teams, where basically the people on the teams are working together to get as many pieces on the board as they can, which can be rather fun and chaotic because people's hands are crossing all the time. But anyway, that's basically the way Perfection works, and you'll just continue to do rounds. And I believe it says in the rules the first person to go to 60 points wins. The way we do it is say both of us were at 55 and 56, we would just play a complete round and then overlap the 60 and then go back to the beginning and say I had like 65 points. And then the second player will get one more turn, and if they could beat 65, they will win. If they couldn't beat that score in this case, then I will win. So folks, that is the first edition of Perfection. So my final thoughts on Perfection, the first edition. Well, I've seen many Perfection games in my time while going thrifting, and I've debated doing a review on it, but I really decided not to, just because the game is so common and most people know how to play it. But when I saw this version, it looked completely different than any of the versions that I saw before, and it had some unique mechanics with the pegboard and with the little slides that you can put over the different shapes, so children can play the game themselves and learn. I think that was really, really cool. And I like the idea behind the scoring as well. But this is a fun game. This is a game I've always enjoyed playing. It's a great game to play with my wife. We're always constantly going back and forth and back and forth. And you get better as time goes on. When I saw this version, I didn't realize it was the first edition until after I got it. I found it at a thrift store that I don't go to that often. They happen to have it. Game works great. All the pieces were there except for the pegs, which I made. And it was in great shape. And I just love the way it looks. It looks totally different than any Perfection game that I've ever seen. And I like the way it looks. I like the pegboard. I like the rules. I like the slides that you can use. So one day my son will be able to play this game and learn. So all in all, I like this version a lot, and if I were to get a Perfection game, I would probably recommend this one, just simply because it has a different look, a different feel, and it's vintage, so of course I'm going to like it. But anyway, that's my review of Perfection, the first edition, guys. I'll see you later. Keep on gaming.